What did Governor Greg Abbott completely overlook that could turn 5 brand-new, rock-solid GOP seats into an absolute political disaster? Because when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett responded to the Supreme Court's decision to uphold Texas redistricting maps, she didn't just push back. She didn't cry. She didn't concede. She issued a cold, calculated warning that now has Republicans sweating behind closed doors. Before we dive deep into why Jasmine Crockett's viral response to being fired by a map might become the worst nightmare Texas Republicans ever had, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and stick around till the end. Because this story is proof that a Supreme Court victory can turn into a catastrophic miscalculation faster than you think. Friday morning, the news dropped like a bomb. The United States Supreme Court ruled that Texas could use its brand-new, highly controversial redistricting maps for the 2026 midterm elections. These were the same maps a panel of 3 federal judges, right here in Texas, had already ruled were discriminatory. The same maps that deliberately cracked and packed Black and Latino communities to dilute their voting power. The same maps that effectively erased Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's current district from existence. Greg Abbott didn't wait 5 minutes. He jumped on X and declared total victory. Texas is officially and legally more red. This is a massive win for Texas voters, common sense, and the U.S. Constitution. Instant celebration on the right. Conservative media went wild. X was flooded with brutal, personal attacks. She's done. Fire by the map. Texas doesn't want her anyway. Bye-bye, Jasmine. It was raw. It was vicious. It was the kind of online pile-on that happens when one side, it was surgical, it was prepared, and it was terrifying for Republicans. Her first tweet landed like a precision strike. Today's Supreme Court decision is disappointing, but not shocking, coming from a MAGA-influenced court. Here's the truth. Texans are being forced to vote under maps that 3 federal judges in Texas already ruled were drawn specifically to silence Black, Latino, and minority voices. Those rulings still stand. The Supreme Court did not say these maps are fair. They did not say these maps are constitutional. They simply hit pause and allowed discriminatory maps to be used for 2026 while the full case continues. Boom! In one tweet, she destroyed the entire Republican victory narrative. This wasn't a final win on the merits. This was a temporary green light to use maps that courts had already branded illegal. Then came the warning, the part that turned defense into offense. She wrote, "To every politician celebrating today, let me offer one word of caution. Don't get too comfortable. These maps were drawn like political Russian roulette. You sliced districts to the bone, tightened margins to the breaking point, and assumed the voters you targeted wouldn't fight back. When you push the lines this far, you don't just risk losing the seats you tried to steal. You risk losing the seats you already had. Political, Russian, roulette." That phrase hit like a sledgehammer. And she didn't stop there. She pointed to Tennessee, where Republicans drew aggressive maps, thought they locked everything down, and then watched a safe seat shrink to less than 5 points in a special election. Then she dropped a bomb nobody was talking about yet. Even Texas Republicans are quietly bowing out of 2026 races. They see the writing on the wall. They know these maps could become a disaster for their own party. Translation? Seasoned GOP incumbents are retiring. Not because they're tired, but because they look at their new districts and think, I might actually lose this. If their own people don't feel safe under these safe maps, why should Greg Abbott be popping champagne? And then she closed with fire. The final say does not belong to Donald Trump. It does not belong to Greg Abbott. It does not belong to a Supreme Court willing to look the other way. The final say belongs to the people of Texas. And when the people speak in 2026, the results will speak louder than any map ever could. The internet exploded, exactly as you'd expect. Conservatives called her delusional, a sore loser, in denial. But something bigger was happening beneath the noise. Her tweets were shared hundreds of thousands of times, especially in Black and Latino communities. The comments poured in. "We ride with you, Jasmine. Keep fighting." They drew the maps in back rooms, but we vote in public. This wasn't defeat. This was energy. This was mobilization. And behind the scenes, Democratic strategists started asking a dangerous new question. What if being fired by a map is the best thing that ever happened to Jasmine Crockett? Think about it. If her current district no longer exists, what's stopping her from running statewide? Senate? Attorney General? Governor one day? You can gerrymander a House district. You can't gerrymander the entire state of Texas. And here's what Abbott and the map makers completely overlooked. To create those 5 shiny new Republican seats, they had to spread GOP voters razor thin across dozens of other districts. They turned plus 18 Republican seats into plus 6 seats. They turned plus 15 seats into plus 3 seats. On paper, they gained 5 seats. In reality, they made 20 others vulnerable. This is what political scientists call dummy mandering. When you gerrymander so aggressively that you win the map, but lose the war the second turnout shifts even slightly. We've seen it before. Wisconsin, North Carolina, even Tennessee just showed it. When voters get angry, when they feel the system try to silence them, they show up. And over-optimized maps crack like glass. Greg Abbott declared total domination. Jasmine Crockett just handed Texas Democrats the single most powerful message of 2026. These maps are illegitimate. They're temporary, and they are beatable. One side is celebrating. The other side is organizing. And in the days after her tweets, voter registration groups in Texas reported massive spikes, especially among young voters and voters of color. Democratic donors started writing checks to races they had already written off. Multiple Republican incumbents suddenly launched ads talking about bipartisanship and local values, the kind of ads you run when you're scared, not safe. So let me ask you this. Did Texas Republicans just hand Jasmine Crockett the perfect origin story? Did they just turn a rising star into a statewide threat? Did they just prove her entire point by celebrating a win that might blow up in their faces? Because when you play political Russian roulette, eventually that loaded chamber comes up. And right now, every early indicator says that bullet is heading straight toward the district Republicans thought they had locked down forever. If this video showed you how a courtroom win can become a political disaster, smash that like button, drop a comment, and tell me. Do you think aggressive gerrymandering ultimately helps or hurts the party that draws the maps? And most importantly, share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth. Maps don't vote. People do. I'll see you in the next one.